Tune in and talk hurricanes on the line. We always looking for a QB to drop some dimes. We talking to you with Sebastian Lane. Only scouting 5-star players to impact the game. The whole point is to make a run for the ship. Throwing bowls, whether we at home or on a trip. What we want, blue chips. Or a beast in the middle of that defense to make a hater flip. When he try to come through the A-gap without block, you can bet whoever got the rock face gets slapped. You know the youth only bring in the fastest. Bonafide athletes that can catch it or pass it. Electrifying talent that can take you to the house. Coming for the top dogs, I'm the coasting in the south. So if you think you know the game, get your talk on. And if you ain't riding with the Canes, go ahead and get your walk on. We talking about the game with Sebastian Lane. And scouting the recruits that can really bang. Players with stats to make the Hall of Fame. It's called a dynasty, watch it rise again. We talking about the game with Sebastian Lane. And scouting the recruits that can really bang. Players with stats to make the Hall of Fame. It's called a dynasty, watch it rise again.
What's happening? What's going on? Welcome back to another Sebastian Lane Live with your boy Dave and Rustin, man. As we are back to game week, getting ready to finish off this season, man. 9-1, obviously not feeling as great coming off a loss, but you get another opportunity, right, to go get your 10 wins. Something that hasn't been done since 2017. Something that's only been done once in the last 20 years. How are you feeling, Dave, going into Wake Forest? Obviously, last home game of the year. Tons of, seniors getting ready to get announced. Wake Forest is coming in, not really expecting much. Then they're 3-8, something like that. So still a lot on the table for Miami, and I know teams want to come in. So how are you feeling going into this weekend?
Now, we always talk about bye weeks and how it affects us and how we've looked, and I think hopefully we've kind of moved past that. I think this is a big game. This is huge, especially with a one loss. Everybody walking around down in the dumps, 9-1, acting like we're lost 4 or 5 games, and we're 9-1. We've only lost 1 ball game, so get your ass over it, man. The sky ain't falling yet. We're okay. You got Wake Forest this weekend and get out of a bye. There's issues to fix. I think some folks are a little concerned with some things, but we'll see if that's happened. But at the end of the day, just listen, at this point, just do what you've been doing and just go win the game. Whatever happens, how you do it, whatever the score is, go win that ball game. And as we've talked about 2026 recruiting, and I know everybody's still hung up on 25 and we still got to finish that 26 class, which seems like it's so far away. There are going to be some dudes there Saturday. And when you talk about building towards the future and keeping this thing moving in the right direction, you need a good turnout Saturday, and you need a good showing Saturday. So you don't need to drop the ball now. Finish out, win these last 2 ball games, man. Let's move on.
Yeah, I mean, going into the season, you can look back into the summer months, man. A lot of these experts, a lot of people, fans themselves, was screaming 9-3, cap 10-2. Well, you're sitting at 9-1 with a great opportunity to go 10-1 this weekend. Then you get the last game up at Syracuse, which can go. I mean, Syracuse has always been kind of a thorn, somewhat, but still should be. I mean, they don't look as good as we do on paper, right? So you should be 11-1. I know it sucks we didn't go 12-0, but you go back to the preseason, man. People predicted Florida beat us. We won on the road. Then people were predicting Virginia Tech to upset us. We won on the road. Some people were talking about how Cal was going to be I don't know, it might catch Miami as a trap game, traveling across the coast and game day and all this other stuff. Well, we got through there. I mean, I think everybody in the mama was predicting Louisville to beat us on the road. You won there. I mean, a lot of the games, man, a lot of people were concerned on. We ended up winning on the road, right? Traveling across the country, big moments. You're 3-0 in a lot of the road games that people predicted us to lose, right? So, I mean, yes, I know we've got a lot of momentum. You won the games you're supposed to, right? Obviously, Georgia Tech, you wanted that one too, but shit happens. Time to get back on the ball. You got Wake Forest rolling to town. I think their starting quarterback, if I'm not mistaken, is down. We're like a 23.5-point favorite, something like that. Mm-hmm. So Mike is 5-3, if I'm not mistaken, on covering the spread this season. So you got another opportunity. Cam Ward kind of, I don't want to say stumbled because he didn't really have a bad game, right? But After that Georgia Tech game, a lot of the media, the outlanders, whatever you want to call them, started taking away that Heisman hype and disrespecting them. So I think Cam really should go out here and put on a show. Show these boys what we all know he can do.
Yeah.
So it's exciting, man. I mean, it's the senior, especially Xavier Restrepo, a guy that has put his blood, sweat, and tears, man, into this team and building it where it's at. It's his last game at home at Hard Rock in front of his family, in front of his friends. I wish it was gonna be a sellout because I know it's Wake Forest. A lot of people aren't going to go, but man, I hope him and Cam and a lot of those guys do put on just a onslaught. This weekend.
Yeah, beginning of the season, bro, the preseason before this whole thing kicked off, the very first game against Florida, not a lot of people said, or at least realistically said, thought we would go undefeated. So at the beginning of the season, if somebody had said, I'm not going to tell you the loss, anything like that, but after 10 games, you're going to be 9-1, you're going to beat the brakes off of Florida, and you're going to beat Florida State, I would have taken that all day, every day. I'm not excusing what happened at Georgia Tech. We should have won that game. I get that. But, at the end of the day, the way the season's gone, the cardiac canes, as we like to call them, and the way we've had these wins, just do yourself a favor. The only expectation needs to be a win. It doesn't matter if it's 31-30, 49-48. If we actually show up and blow somebody out, then that's fine. But the way this season's gone, the way we've picked up these wins, your expectation needs to be a win. We talked that whole 1-0 every week. That holds a lot of truth now going into these last two games. That's the only thing that matters. Win those two games and keep your ranking where you are, and just slide into this postseason, and let's get into those playoffs. But before you get into that, let's handle Wake Forest however you need to do it. And again, look at where we've been. Everybody acts like we're coming off 3 straight natties or some shit around here. And, we've got a lot of improvement. We're at 9-1, so let's act like it. And let's show up Saturday, man, get another win under our belts, and then move on to Syracuse. Because, again, that's just those teams you don't want to run up against, man. It doesn't matter what the records are. They're just, like you said, just kind of a thorn in your side. And I think when you look at this season, no matter who we've played, we haven't been able to take anybody for granted. So show up Saturday, man. Let's get it done.
Yeah, and I mean, you had obviously a hiccup, but all you got to do is have one more, man, and we're out of the ACC title run.
Yeah.
So,
talking about moving to the playoffs after Syracuse. No, playoffs start Saturday at noon.
Yeah.
This is the playoffs. We are in the playoffs starting Saturday. That's where we are.
Yeah, you got to win out, at the end of the day.
Yep.
Obviously, National Signing Day or early signing day is only a couple weeks away. And Miami currently holds the top 10 class. And there are a ton of guys that are still on the board for Miami. Ben Hanks, Vernell Brown, Dallas Wilson. It looks like the offensive line is done. Looks like we're done at running back. Obviously, quarterback we've been done with. But that defensive side of the ball, man, I know they would like to add a few guys, obviously, in the interior of the D-line. I mean, they would definitely like to add at least one, but possibly 2 linebackers and then possibly two DBs, right? Ben Hanks and DJ Pickett. That would be the home run to end the class. But in general, we're going to do an overview here in a couple of weeks once signing day gets here. Just an overview, Dave. If the class finished today, right? Miami doesn't land another commit. We're done right here where we're at. What's your take on it?
Well, honestly, if it ended today and we don't pick up anybody else, a little disappointing, obviously, because if you talk about you don't get anybody else, that means you haven't, addressed much with the linebacker room. You still want to get at least 1, possibly 2 more in the mix. So I think you at least need to get to do that, right? On the flip side, I guess if it ended today and you ended up with everybody, that tells me you don't lose anybody else, right? So that's always a plus, I guess. But I still want to see there's still a couple of big names on the board, and we know the defensive back names on the board. We've heard, obviously the Ben Hanks and obviously DJ Pickett. So I think you know you got to be a little optimistic and still hold out hope for at least one of those. So, I think if it ended today, right now, depending on how everybody else would do, I think we're ninth right now. I thought we were 10th. I think we're ninth now, actually. So, you know, flip side, you're a top 10 class, but on the other side, did you address every single issue that you needed to? And I don't think you've gone heavy enough linebacker wise right now to say that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I mean, obviously, I still want another wide receiver, even though I like the three that we
Absolutely.
have.
Hmm.
I think honestly, it's just the average.
Yeah. Yeah.
O line. There's nothing really that blows you away. Even though I love SJ and Max, I think they're
Oh,
obviously
yeah.
picks. But
Yeah.
Luke's. I think Luke's a great quarterback. Um, and then I like Gerard, but I wanted two running backs obviously in the class.
Hmm.
And then you get Joshua Moore. I think he's an alpha. I think he's a dog. Great land there. But you get to that D line, man, and I mean, yeah, you didn't need too much on the DM, right? You got two great prospects, but man, to me, there's just so much more you could have done with the D
Oh,
tackle.
yeah. And I
Uh,
think especially coming off your best season in 20 years,
right,
right? 25 years. You know what I'm saying? If it continues to go, and we're just saying, if it were to end now, then I
right,
have to look at our record ending now, which would be a one-loss season.
right,
And I think there's been so much momentum and all that going into this, right? And we've said all year, if we win, they end. Well, we winning. Where they at? So
right.
I think that also, and I think it's a fair assumption to look at that, to look at it that way. The best season you've had in a long, long time, and
Absolutely.
you kind of have a very average class, like you said. The O line, the D line, and wide receivers as well. And I'm the same. SJ, that was probably my top two guys that I wanted on the whole line in the whole country. Love Max, but again, I think D tackle is something that continues to get uh, moved around a little bit. I don't know exactly why. I like the young guys we have. I like Justin Scott. I like some of those dudes, but I think you continue to do it. You get to the point where you don't just stop bringing in talent. So I definitely would like to see more there.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree with you on the linebacker position, man. Like, if you ended with what you have now, I don't think it's a major concern. But I would like to get obviously Kellen Wiley and TJ Alvin
Mm.
in this class, and I think the DB position, I think they did wonderful. Let me go ahead and get our guest on real quick. Make sure
Yeah, go ahead.
dress real quick. What's good, bro?
Yep.
You can hear me?
What's up? I can hear you.
All right, man. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate the time. Appreciate you coming on. Real quick, for anybody that's watching live, let them know who you are, where you're from, what position you play, what class you're in.
My name's Darius McKinley. I play DN and D tackle, and I live in Lafayette, Louisiana, and I go to Acadiana High School.
I got you, bro. I appreciate you, man. We won't keep you on too long. Kind of just chop it up with you, and we'll get you out of here for the rest of the night.
So,
So, obviously, getting ready to go into your class next cycle, 2026. Um, is there anything that you're looking forward to? Finally getting your season here, now being the main focus of recruiting. Is there anything that's exciting, like, looking forward to?
I'm ready to play at that level of college football. I'm ready to be the best I could possibly be at college, and develop.
I got you. So obviously you're out of Louisiana, out of state of Louisiana. Miami is trying to do their best to get their foothold into the state. What's your outlook on kind of the outlook of the program, outlook of the future of the state of Miami?
Miami is a really beautiful place and has a very beautiful campus. So it might be a possibility of, you know,
I got you. So obviously Miami's having one of their better seasons. Obviously Cam Ward is getting accolades all across. What are you noticing, kind of just with Miami this season? The coaching looking different, the players, the culture. Like, what's something that stands out to you about the program?
that everybody is working together and it's like a brotherhood together. Like everybody is, playing together how they supposed to be, and that's how they getting all these wins and doing what they do this year.
Gotcha. So obviously, I'm sure Louisiana LSU is a well-known program. Are they recruiting you? How hard are they recruiting you? Is it one of your top schools?
Yeah, they were recruiting me. I go to a lot of their games because my brother he played for LSU too. So yeah, they're recruiting me hard.
Gotcha. What's your brother's name?
Dominic McKinley.
I got you, man. Just shout out to your brother real quick. So, obviously with Miami, with Coach Jason Taylor, like recruiting you, how does that feel? A guy like Jason Taylor, Hall of Fame defensive end coach, D line coach, played the position at a high level. What's that like, man?
It's great. It's a good opportunity. It's like a blessing.
I got you. What's Miami's pitch to you, man? Like, hey, come down, get developed, play for Coach Guidry. What's kind of somewhat of the pitch? I can't give me the full story.
Yeah, something like that. They wanted to develop me to the best player I could possibly be.
I got you. You have any trips lined up here in the near future?
I'm gonna try to go on an official visit this summer over there.
Gotcha. Currently, like I know you got a year, but currently, what's your height and weight?
I'm 6'3", 265.
Gotcha. So obviously Miami, LSU, a lot of other schools are in it. Um, what's your like? Do you have any plans after like in January, anything like that? Junior days, you ain't got to name the places, but you got anything like you kind of got in the works?
I'm gonna try to go on some junior days, see what I could get done and where I could go.
Okay, I got you. So your game, you obviously play both D end and D tackle. Is there one you prefer more than the other, or you don't really care?
I don't really care.
Gotcha. Is there a scheme you like more? 3-4, 4-3, multiple,
3-4.
like being 3-4. Gotcha. Um, so obviously, being in the trenches, you got to be a run stopper. You got to also be able to rush the passer. What's your strength, of your game, and what's something you want to work on?
Uh, Something that I'll work on is probably getting the hands off of me faster. But my strength is, trying to make a move and use my feet to get to the quarterback.
I got you. I'm gonna pass to my co-host, man. Let him chop it up, and he'll pass it back.
All right. So first of all, talking to you now, you seem very laid back, very chill guy. That does not match your film. So something happens when you get on that field, because when you're on that field, it's like a switch goes off or something.
That's
So,
it.
so my question, I see your film, and I'm talking to you now, but I usually wait for a minute to ask this, but I'm kind of curious now. You've kind of intrigued me. What kind of dude are you like on that sideline, on that locker room? You a vocal kind of leader? You just put it on the field? Like, what's your demeanor on, like, off that field?
On the field, I try to be more vocal. I try to call the plays in case nobody here or something. I try to, shout out things that the linebackers and the safeties need to hear and everything. I try to be more vocal.
Okay.
But
It, and vocal, if you're vocal, that's cool, because you definitely lead by example. Because, like I said, watching your film, you're just all over the place. And I was curious on your current measurements. You said 6'3", 265. So, 265, 270, move the way you do. That's really, really impressive. I know you defensive end, defensive tackle both, but going into college, and especially you've already got a year, I would imagine a lot of schools are looking at the defensive tackle spot, right?
yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Um, are you? I know you're in Louisiana. I get that. Are you like originally from there? Is that where you've been born and raised?
Yes, sir.
So your brother was a big time recruit as well. 5-star, I believe, coming out. What's it going to take for a program like Miami or whoever it is to pull you away from the hometown?
Uh, Really relationships with the coaches and the staff and players. The
Okay,
relationship, big thing.
got you. Who was your first offer?
I believe it was Miami. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Miami.
it was. Yeah, I was going to help you out with that. I was like, don't leave me hanging. I hope I'm right on that. So, talk about relationships, coaching staff. When you're talking to Miami, you're hearing from them or whatever. What coaches have you been in contact with there? Is it just strictly like Jason Taylor? Have you talked to Mario Cristobal? Have you talked to defensive coordinators at all?
I talked to mainly Jason Taylor.
Okay, that's your primary contact there.
Yes, sir.
Got you. You mentioned the 3-4. You kind of like that sort of setup. Are you concerned at all or curious at all with who the DC is where you go? Is that something you look at and kind of their demeanor and where they call games, that sort of thing, or is that not important?
That's not really important to me.
Okay. Do you know? And again, way down the road, I'm not trying to get you to do it right now, but do you have an idea as far as like a timeline? Do you want to kind of now? Some guys want to get it out of the way before their senior season. Some guys wait till after the season or something like that. Do you have any idea at all when you want to do something like that?
No, I don't know yet. Yeah, I don't know yet. No, sir.
Okay, cool. Does it help out to have a brother that just recently went through all this? Does he give you advice? Do you reach out to him to kind of what to do? And because you got a lot of coaches and programs coming at you, and it's not even close to starting, it's going to just heat up. So is he involved at all with helping you with that?
Yes, sir. He helped me a lot with, building a relationship with coaches and like doing what's best for me and everything.
Got you. Other sports?
Track and field. Yes, sir.
Okay. What do you do on that side? What do you do, track and field?
I used to run the 200. I don't know if I'm gonna still run the 200, but
you run the 200?
Yes, sir.
Dang. All right. That's
and
impressive.
I throw the shot put.
Okay. Very cool. Last thing for me, and I'm gonna pass it back. You're not on the field. You're not recruiting. You're not running track. What are you doing in your off time, man? What do you like to do to kind of wind down, hobby wise, that sort of thing?
Either be on my game or probably chilling, trying to find something to do.
Got you. Hey, man, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Definitely going to keep in touch and follow your recruitment. Best of luck and everything. I'm going to pass it back and we'll sign off with you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes,
So I
sir.
just got more with you, man, and we'll get you out of here, bro. So growing up, did you have like a favorite team? You know, obviously, I'm sure LSU was college, but like, is there a favorite team you watched in NFL or anything?
The team I really watched was the Rams, and yeah.
Gotcha.
And
So is it somebody like model your game after you watch his tape? And I know obviously you got a big brother that, you know, you can grow up watching all his tape because he's done it at the highest level. But is there anybody like you grew up watching, you know, that's you was like, hey, I like that dude?
Aaron Donald and Myles Garrett, of course.
Yeah, got to put the two and two together with the Rams there.
So,
you know, obviously, like my co-host was saying, man, on the field you look completely different, you know, than your demeanor. Is that something that, like, growing up with a big brother, you know, the competition, the sibling rivalry, or, you know, just growing up in the neighborhood playing with the guys around the neighborhood? Where did that come from?
Probably the sibling rivalry. We always seen everything as a competition.
Kind of figured. Is that still going on? Like, you know, he set some records, it has stats in high school. Now you're trying to break them. Is that still kind of going?
Of course.
So what's one of his that you're trying to break? You know, either this year or next.
Trying to break his tackles, and his sacks.
Gotcha. So, you know, obviously getting ready to go into your end of your season. You're still playing, right? Yeah. So, you know, obviously state is always the goal. But what's some goals for yourself that you've had this season that you may haven't accomplished just yet?
I want at least like 15 sacks. I haven't gotten there yet. And then I want at least like 80, 90 tackles.
I got you. That's quite a bit for the lineman. So, you know, obviously, like I was saying earlier, Miami's trying to get a foothold in the state of Louisiana. We've already got guys like Dylan Day, Jabari Anton. Do you know any of those guys? Have you talked to them or anything?
No, sir.
Gotcha. So is there anybody, you know, that you know you play with, or, that's on your team that, maybe getting recruited at that level yet that you think, should be?
They got Russell Babineau, but he just committed to UL not too long ago.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
Well, I appreciate you, man. We appreciate your time. Before you get out of here, bro, shout yourself out. Let people know where to follow you on Instagram and Twitter.
My Instagram is Darius_McKinley, and then my Twitter is Darius McKinley.
I got you, bro. I appreciate you, man. Best of luck the rest of the season, bro. And we'll definitely be in touch.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Thank
buddy.
you.
Have a good night, man.
You too.
All right, man. So obviously 2026 defensive lineman out of the state of Louisiana, Darius McKinley. Like he said, he's got a brother that also plays at the highest level, man. Great kid, obviously really humble, very soft-spoken. So, he a beast on the field. But as we told you guys before, man, this 2026 class is literally right around the corner. If you haven't noticed, visits have been picking up. We've been following a lot of 2026 guys, as I'm pretty sure that that's kind of where it's going to move the focus to, as there's not many more prospects we're going to add into this class. So we'll still be locked in, still trying to get these guys to come through. But let's go ahead and get the rest of this show going, man. So as we were talking, getting ready to get into the last few weeks, man. Another big visitors list, but it's all 2026, it seems like, right? Or maybe that's just Mario's ploy, right? So Mario's known for these secret visits, these under the radar, hidden, whatever you want to call them, right? There were supposedly some guys on campus this weekend that Mario had down, kind of kicking, enjoying. That's not going to get leaked out, right? Do you think, or do you see any unknown flips coming in the next 2-3 weeks?
Yeah, I still think there's going to be one. I think there's going to be one that, like, somebody that was talked about, that kind of went silent. Maybe they committed elsewhere early on or something like that. But I think there's going to be one that when the name comes back around, it's going to be somebody that was in the mix, early on in the cycle, kind of went quiet for a minute, because we know once that happens, and it's not just Mario, it's not just this step. Once that happens, the calls don't stop. You continue to recruit who you want to recruit and go after those guys. But Mario tends to be, when he really, really wants, a recruit, he goes all in for it. And I think there's going to be one that once it happens, everybody's going to be, oh yeah. And it's one that went quiet and has been quiet for some time.
Yeah, I mentioned it last week, right, when we were on the show. Mario is known to at least get one of those guys that just come out of nowhere, right? Like, nobody's talking about him. Nobody's mentioned him. Somebody asked me, was it Hayden Lowe? I don't think it's Hayden Lowe, because
I don't think so.
He's been in the articles. People have been writing about him. It's been known that Mike was trying to flip him. There's a like Justin Scott, Trevante Citizen, just those type of commitments that come out of nowhere, right? Yes, the Ohio State flip that comes, randomly. Mark Fletcher, Jordan Lyle. It's obviously looking like TJ Alford might be the next guy. We'll see how that goes. I know the crystal balls have been rolling, but there's that one that's usually like, holy shit, where did he come from, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I would just watch, because I don't think it's the DJ Pickett's or the Vernell Browns or anything like that, because those are known, right? Like, Miami's pushing for those, like Dallas Wilson, etc. This would come out of like complete left field. Who is he? Like, what? I didn't know recruiting him. Just what Mario's little MO is, right? So getting into, like I said, we talked about the class. What's your take on it? What's my take on it? If we flip DJ Pickett and, I don't know, let's just say you get Hanks and Pickett and Alford and you call it a day, would that appease your class a little more? Would that make you happier, seeing those three in the fold?
Absolutely, because you've addressed real needs right there. We know DB cornerback is a position of need. That's not a secret. There's no knock on any guy that's there. That's known. We know this. We've known this since we kicked off the first game. You know what I'm saying? Coming in, we knew that was probably going to be a weak spot. So if you were able to pick up Hanks, and if you add Pickett in there, and we don't know exactly what he's going to do at the next level, but all of a sudden you've really addressed that need. And then again, we mentioned linebacker at the top, but on top of everything else, that's uh, we know for a fact too, and probably three guys on the defensive side of the ball that you've really, really upgraded that room and that side. So, yeah, yeah. I mean, are there other guys you still? Yeah, I would still like to see defensive tackles, obviously, and we've already talked about this, wide receivers. But if you got those three, yeah, definitely going to be happier.
No, absolutely. So going into these last 2 weeks of the regular season, and let's just say we go 2-0, make it to the ACC championship game, you get SMU. One, what do you want to see get fixed between that time and now? And then two, what's your outlook on Miami having an opportunity to win the ACC?
Uh, what I'd like to see fixed is a sense of urgency uh, from, I'm going to say, from the players, but that starts with the coaching staff. And it's not the entire coaching staff, but I just feel like there's certain members of that staff that you just don't see a sense of urgency. And we'll just call it like it is. It's a sense of Cam is going to save us. And it shouldn't be that way. Cam has played like Superman. He's played out of his mind, but he shouldn't have to do that when he puts up 40, 45, 50 points. He shouldn't have to continue to have to do that. And I want to see a sense of urgency. I want to see better reaction. When a team is doing something, a team doing something over and over and over, and you're trying to stop it and trying to stop it and trying to stop it. They just continue because they're the better football team or the more physical team or just the better team. Shit happens. That's football. That's sports. That's competition. But when you've got a team with obviously less talent on that side of the ball by far, so we were told, and they do things that are not mind blowing. It's not mind boggling. It's not state of the art play calling, and you just stand there and just can't adjust to it. I think that's a problem. And if you're going to get, what do you want to do? Are you happy as a team and a program just to get to the playoffs and say, let's call it a day? Or do you want to make a run? If you want to make a run, you better fix some things. If you're okay with maybe losing one, if not both of these last two games, just keep doing what you're doing. But I want to see a little more sense of urgency from certain folks on that sideline, And as far as my outlook on it, I still got Miami winning the ACC because that was the goal coming in. That's the goal still now. We're 9-1. We're not haven't lost 4 or 5 games. We're 9-1, and it's not like we're going to, Texas and to Athens, Georgia. The last 2 games, we got Wake Forest and Syracuse. And where you want to be in a program, if you can't finish strong against those 2 schools, then again, you've got to take another look in that mirror, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I think the biggest thing for me is just the defense as whole playing a lot better, right? Like, I can get down and nitpick, the DBs need to completely change. But honestly, the DBs need help from the D linemen getting home. The linebackers need to stay in their sign gaps, fill the right lanes. It needs to be an entire change, like outlook, whatever you want to call it, getting healthy. I understand Damari Brown has been a huge, missing piece this season and everything else. Dione Hill not playing up to standards, guys being baked up. Yeah, I hear all the excuses, but honestly, communication will solve all of that. Knowing how to watch film, okay, I see they run a ton of misdirection. They run a lot of jet sweeps. I need to stay outside and contain my edge. Like there's just a lot of simple steps that will make this that much better. And obviously teams like Wake Forest, that slowness caused up, man. I can't stand it as a defender, but it works. It keeps the linebacker still, and then lets the receivers get right behind them, and it give you a quick little pop pass. There's a ton of things, bro, that this defense, they just need to be ready to play. Syracuse has got guys that can score. That offense is nice. I'm not even going to cap to you. But at the end of the day, we need to come ready to play. We need to get our shit together. And there's a lot of things that honestly we should have cleaned up over this bye week. Get back healthy and let's knock these last two weeks out, and let's get to the ACC championship game because SMU is gonna want it. Red
Yeah, yeah.
Last coach here, obviously. He's buddies with Manny Diaz, and I know he wants to stick it to Mario just as much. You got some guys that used to be on his team. That is SMU for a reason. So those guys want to win and obviously bring the first ACC championship game to SMU, bragging rights, playoff spot. There's a lot of implications, man. So we really need to get our shit together and let's beat the hell out of these last two teams and get to this ACC championship and do what the hell we're supposed to do.
Yeah, I think one thing that needs to be looked at when I mentioned sense of urgency and things like that, and your team and your players and your position groups and your rooms, they take on the attitude of their leaders, and what kind of message are we sending? And I hope at the very least the days of not showing up to big games is over. And I know everybody's saying, well, "How can you say that? We just came off a loss." I get it, but we're going to lose ball games. But now what happens? Now you've got your season, bro. Your season is right here. This is it. Did you come into this season to lose three football games? I don't think so. Not against this competition. I don't think you did. So what are you going to do? You can sit over there and you can nitpick, like you said, and you can do this and you can do that. You can show up, play football, or you can let it be. It is what it is. That's up to you. But if your season is sitting right here in front of you, and again, the playoffs start Saturday, and that's real talk. The playoffs start Saturday. Yeah, you can't afford to lose these next two football games. You just can't.
And it's the irritating things, right? Just
Yeah.
making a tackle, wrapping up, bringing a guy down. Understanding. If you watch film and you study your playbook and you know your assignments, closing in. Just it's the simple things, bro. And I know
Do your damn job.
that's literally the simplest thing,
Do
bro.
your job. Don't worry about what this dude's doing. Don't worry about what this guy's not doing. Do your job so you're not that guy. Do
Yeah.
your job. And
Yeah.
I know on the offensive side of the ball, one thing I felt good about coming into the season, I felt we had good leadership at a lot of positions. Obviously Cam Moore, but then you look at the wide receivers with X. You had Fletcher coming back. You had Martinez as a running back who's played a while. You got some guys on the line that's been around for a second.
Facts.
Who's the guy on the defensive side? I don't know who that guy is. Who's the guy on the defensive side that's going to get in guys' face on the sidelines? Who's the guy that's going to grab somebody and say, "Bro, get your shit together. Let's go." You know what I'm saying? Quit hanging your head. You missed a tackle. Don't miss another one. Get back in this thing. You know what I mean? I don't know who that guy is. I have no clue who that is. And if anybody else knows, I would love to hear it because I haven't seen him.
Well, it's that time. It's time to step
Yeah.
up and actually. Yeah. If you haven't found yourself or found the guy yet, it needs to be you. So, hey man, we appreciate everybody, bro. Hovering around 200 tonight. Obviously had a good guest on tonight. We'll have more next week. We're getting closer to signing day, getting closer to the end of the season. It has been a fun run. Obviously, finally getting back on track. But if you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitter, whatever, man, please hit the like, the follow, the subscribe, all that good stuff. We will be back every Monday night at 8 o'clock. And as always, it's all about the you.
Yes, sir.